The search continues for missing flood victims in KwaZulu-Natal. Some pupils are slowly returning to school and government is working, of course, towards building temporary shelters. Let's cross back to KZN now. Lindokuhle Xulu is there for us and joins us now to give us an update. Lindo, good morning to you. I mean, earlier on I saw visuals of, community members assisting young people to cross over from that bridge that was damaged by those recent floods. How is that going so far? Of course, given that school now continues and the province is doing all they can to assist in that regard.
Well, the community in this area has been very proactive in terms of sorting out some of those issues. They had, in fact, threw it forward and looked forward in terms of saying, when pupils go back to school, what is it exactly that we will be helping them in terms of assisting them as they try to cross in damaged roads, damaged infrastructure in terms of bridges? And that is exactly what we've seen here. We do know that over 600 schools have been affected by floods, but for pupils, it's not just these schools that have been affected in terms of being damaged, but it's also the way to work. It's also the fact that their homes have been damaged. And that is why, as my colleague Joe Komane will be zooming out here and just give you a holistic picture, you will see that there is, in fact, that particular community making sure that pupils are able to cross here. What you are seeing, of course, standing on top of the bridge that I'm making my way through is, in fact, community members that have been helping some of those that are trying to cross here. What we do understand, on the other side where my colleague Joe Komane is filming from, there is a hospital and two schools that people need to access, and that is why we are seeing that there is a lot of crossing in this area. I'll cross as well, just perhaps to illustrate the difficulties here. Elderly women, we are told, are crossing here. We are told that pupils are crossing here from as little as grade grade R. So that is why the community decided to make this makeshift sort of step ladder to be able to allow those that are trying to cross. And it's important now as some of the pupils are going back to school. So this is the reality that we are seeing in terms of some of the situations around many parts of KwaZulu-Natal, but here, right now we are in eNCA. Some of the pupils earlier on were even crossing on the other side here. My colleague Joe Komane will be showing you that tree lock that has been used as well as a makeshift bridge to be able to pass, because the traffic volumes in terms of those that are crossing in the early hours of the morning is a lot. So these are some of the situations. But Dumela, I want to speak about something quite sad in this particular community, and that is the fact that in this school that we are at, Amandletu Secondary High School, there is one learner who was swept away by the floods on the 11th of April earlier this month. This is the school where she attended to. So we're talking about all these things in terms of the fact that pupils are going back to school, under what conditions they are going back to school, but there is also what is expected to happen. You are in a school where pupils have one learner who was part of them, who was with them, who sometimes was in their classrooms, but at the end of the day, that learner was swept away by the floods and is still not found. So these are some of the situations that the education department will have to deal with. It's not just infrastructure damage, but it's also the psychological damage that these children are going back to school with.
Absolutely. And Lindo, you spot on talking about the psychological recovery that still has to take on beyond the infrastructure. And I can only imagine, what the school management is going through right now, ensuring that, the curriculum continues, the academic year continues, of course, given what these floods and the impact it has had on the school has been like. Colleague, I'll have to leave it there for this morning, but we'll be sure to be with you throughout the rest of the day. That's Lindokuhle Xulu out in KZN.